If you're watching this, it is likely because you or someone you love is navigating the storms of seizures. You may have been told this is a misfire or a disorder or a life sentence of medication. But before we dive deep to decode the energetics of seizures, just because I gotta say this, I do not diagnose, treat, or cure any medical conditions. This content is for informational and educational purposes only. This content invites you to see what is possible when you understand the language of energy, which precedes biology. If you are currently under any medical care, please continue to listen to your physicians while you explore this perspective. This information is not here to replace your medical team, but it is here to introduce you to your internal engineering team. Now take a breath with me, and let's decode what is actually happening. Why can I do this? Well, because I've lived the experience of seizures myself. I'm talking about this because after being admitted to hospitals for over 50 times a year for a period of about 6 years, I have remained seizure-free for the last 13 years since I understood this information I'm about to share. This information does not just apply to seizures, but to all physical conditions you can possibly imagine. To understand the seizure, we must first unlearn the modern narrative that calls it a defect. We have to go back to the source. In ancient Greece, epilepsy was not called a disorder. It was actually known as the sacred disease. It was believed that when a person seized, they were not breaking. They were entering energetic ground that their bodies were learning to hold. In indigenous cultures, in the shamanic traditions of Siberia and the Americas, the person who had the falling sickness was often identified early as a shaman, the oracle, or the healer. Why? Because their nervous systems was open enough to channel frequencies that would usually crush a normal person. They were the walkers between worlds. The seizure was understood as the physical tax of spiritual transportation. It was the moment the vessel had to shake to accommodate the immensity of the energy entering it. But in our modern world, we forgot this. We stopped seeing the shaman and started seeing the patient. We medicated the mystic instead of teaching them how to ground the actual lightning. Hollywood has been coding this sacred disease archetype into our favorite characters for years. Look at Jojen Reed from Game of Thrones. He possessed the green sight, the ability to see the future, to access the universal timeline. But at what cost? Every time that cosmic data downloaded into his brain, he seized. The convulsion wasn't an illness. It was the biological reaction to processing the file size too big for the hardware. Look at Eleven and Will in Stranger Things. She is a master of telekinesis and remote viewing. She accesses the upside down or the astral plane, but when she pushes her power to the limit, when she screams and channels that massive energy, what happens? She collapses. Her nose bleeds. Her battery drains. It shows us that the psychic exertion is a physical event. Will is connected to the hive mind. His body seized multiple times throughout the entire series while visually experiencing a completely different reality. But until he learned to channel that energy through wholeness, he could use it to both understand himself and how Henry simply channeled it in a different sense. Let's look at the OA. This is perhaps the most profound example. The 5 movements that open the interdimensional portals. To the doctors in the show, they looked like madness. They looked like convulsions. But to the travelers, it was a biological technology. It was a precise somatic sequence designed to unlock a new reality. These aren't just stories. They're mirrors. They're showing us that the human brain is a biological transceiver, and sometimes the signal is stronger than the actual antenna. Now let's ground all of this into science. Neurologists have found that in the moments leading up to many epileptic events, there is a massive unexplained spike in gamma brainwaves. Gamma waves are the highest frequency brainwaves we can measure, usually between 30 and 100 Hz. They're the frequency of hyperbinding, the moment when the brain synthesizes information from all senses into a single, cohesive moment of brilliance. Monks who have meditated for 40 years generate high gamma states during peak compassion. So reconsider the seizure. It is not a drop in function. It is an overflow of consciousness. The brain is hitting the God frequency. You are accessing a level of intuition, creativity, or emotion that is so high voltage, your biology fuse box flips off to save the house from burning down. It is a safety mechanism, and so is all other illnesses as well. So here's the engineering truth. You are an electrical being first and a biological being second. Imagine for a moment your nervous system is wired to 110 volts, standard human operating power. But your soul, your repressed trauma, your genius is trying to push 10,000 volts through that wire. If your body is rigid, fearful, or ungrounded, that energy has nowhere to go. It cannot flow through, so it explodes within. Look at what Will did in Stranger Things. He anchored himself in the wholeness and love in his life. And through that, he became a clear channel for the energy. He became the sorcerer, the magician as depicted in tarot cards, and the conduit for creation, channeling the energy towards creation for all. This applies to everything in your life. This is not just about medical seizures. Look at financial self-sabotage. It's a money seizure. You get a surge of wealth or voltage that exceeds your nervous system's capacity to hold it, so you blow it, which is the discharge. Look at anxiety. Anxiety is voltage trapped in the solar plexus. Look at migraines. Migraines are voltage trapped in the third eye. Autoimmune issues are voltage turning inward because it has no outlet. Every symptom is just a mismatch between the power you hold and the capacity of your wire. Your body is so precise and a complete vessel for pure creation. So staying on topic, let's decode the dialects through the typical seizures as well. Let's look at the grand mal tonic-clonic. That is a total system reset. This is a crown chakra and root chakra disconnect. Your crown chakra is wide open, but your root chakra is completely offline. The tonic phase, which is the stiffening, this is resistance. It is the ego screaming, I cannot surrender to this power. I must hold on. The clonic phase, or the jerking, this is discharge. The body overrides you to shake the excess energy out. And then let's look at focal seizures. Left versus right brain nuances. The left brain or focal and logic part of you, you're trying to force a logical solution to a spiritual problem, and your logic circuits are overheating. Look at the right brain in focal seizures. It's your intuition. You're suppressing a massive creative download or emotional truth because it feels irrational or unsafe. And then let's look at absence seizures. This is the escape hatch, common in starseeds. The soul finds this reality too harsh or too boring and literally leaves the room, checks out to hover in the astral plane. Let's look at psychogenic or non-epileptic seizures. This is a somatic scream. This is the throat chakra. If you are not allowed to speak your rage or your truth, your body will scream it for you. How did I stop the storm? Well, just like in X-Men, Professor X didn't cure the mutants of their power. He built a school to teach them how to integrate it. You don't stop the lightning. You build a stronger lightning rod. I expanded my capacity, almost like a nervous system gym. You have to stretch your nervous system's ability to hold the intensity without checking out. When you feel a strong emotion like joy, rage, or fear, instead of distracting yourself, stay with it. Breathe into it. Tell your body, I'm safe to feel this intensity. You're stretching the wire from 110 volts to 220 volts gradually. And then you always have the power to choose, to retrain the safety mechanism. Your nervous system seizes because it thinks the high voltage is dangerous. You have to teach it a new baseline. When you feel the aura or the static, you consciously say, I choose to stay. I choose to be in my body. This power is mine. You override the automatic reboot with conscious presence. You see the communication in it and anchor it into your truth. Then it comes to allowance versus resistance. Remember, the tonic phase is the stiffness. it is the resistance. Resistance creates the explosion. The shift is you must learn allowance. When the energy hits, you don't brace against it. You soften. You visualize opening the soles of your feet and letting that energy run straight into the earth. If you don't resist the flow, the body doesn't need to seize to release it. And then it's all about embodiment. You cannot manage high voltage from your head. You must inhabit your legs, your hips, and your feet. The safer you feel in your body, the more power you can run through your body. Most people don't realize the power that they hold. None of it is illness. All of it is opportunities to create complete and new realities. And it's incredible how beautifully our bodies communicate it in the most incredible ways. So if all of this resonates with you and you'd like to explore a specific condition, then either send me a message or go and explore my channel, because I talk about this stuff all the time. And the other thing is you can join our 13 Chakra Masterclass, where you can work with me one-on-one. The links are available in my bio if that feels resonant to you. Make no mistake, you are not broken. You're simply powerful. It's time to see our conditions and experiences as our baseline superpowers. And those superpowers can create anything that we choose. Once you learn how to navigate the power, you can start to create through it. We are not sick. We are simply misinformed about what we are. And if you want to remember that, then welcome home.